Well, the process of pulling out rebels from the Syrian city of Aleppo is nearly complete now, according to the Kremlin spokesman. And as the operation has been ongoing there, the mainstream media has been firmly focused on the goodbye messages of its residents. Some of the heartbreaking messages might not be as genuine as they seem. RT's Caleb Morpin explains.
So where can we find reliable information about the Syrian conflict? Well, John Kirby of the U.S. State Department says we should tune in to mainstream American news channels.
I would encourage you to go flip on CNN today and look for yourself at the imagery that's coming out of Aleppo by a reputable news organization.
Yes, mainstream American media has painted quite a picture of Aleppo.
No place now to go. It's the last place.
This may be my last video.
This might be close to, if not the last communication.
It's the last time that I talked to you.
Bombs are everywhere. People are running. They don't know where, just running.
We are here living a genocide, literally.
People are executed. It's as simple as that.
These final messages weren't so final after all. Not only did those who put out these final messages not die, but they have continued to put out reports. Here's another hit from one of them, Belal Abdul Karim, with a man who definitely looks like a moderate Syrian rebel.
Fighters are now preparing to leave the city of Aleppo. Now, if you can get a little bit closer here, and you will see what this is. This is an explosive belt.
What do you call somebody who stands basically in front of a terrorist? Not only, in essence, lauding and encouraging the ostensible terrorist, but highlighting the various suicide equipment that they wear. Again, I keep talking about this line that is traversed. And this isn't propaganda. This is basically recruitment.
Now, Mr. Karim seems to be very well trusted by the al-Nusra terrorists. They let him get rather up close and intimate for interviews. Now, we decided to go to the U.S. State Department and ask John Kirby how reliable and credible a source like that actually is. He didn't seem to have any real response.
One of the journalists who was quoted and featured across American mainstream media is Belal Abdul Karim. Here he is being interviewed. And this individual, we also have some of his other journalism, and here he is with someone, this is what he, in his words, describes as an explosive vest. And this is an interview he did with a fighter in an explosive vest. He reports, "The fighters are now preparing to leave the city. This is an explosive belt. This is what many fighters are wearing because they don't feel they can trust the regime." Is this an unbiased, credible source, this person standing next to what looks like a potential suicide bomber?
Look, I'm not going to speak to every single news account that you can sit there and cite, sir. What I can tell you is, as I said, I think the broad swath of coverage about what's going on in Syria is worth people paying attention to. And people have to decide for themselves what they're going to find credible and what they're not going to find credible.
When you have someone say, go to CNN to determine what the truth is, and also make up your own mind, which I think goes without saying, I mean, why don't we just put a big sign up that says CNN, propaganda arm of the government. I mean, I think that was one of the most unwise, unwisest of things to say, phrased that way.
American media and officials have been painting a portrait of Aleppo that's rather black and white. There's good guys and bad guys. It's almost like a Hollywood movie. But it turns out that some of the heroes they've been celebrating have a dark side that they're conveniently choosing to ignore. Caleb Morpin, RT, Washington, D.C.
A retired CIA and State Department official Larry Johnson says the sources reveal just how moderate the militants in eastern Aleppo really are.
Is even evident in that video is that these guys are wearing suicide belts. They have no intention of surrendering or conducting themselves according to anything that would resemble the rules of war, and that the United States is in fact arming radical Islamists, terrorists, groups that have ties to Al-Qaeda. So it's really the ultimate irony that the United States has gone from claiming to fight a war on terror to actually giving the terrorists weapons so that they can continue fighting a war. There's a clear propaganda effort. It's an information warfare that's being carried out to try to portray Syria's battle against these terrorists, I guess is probably the best thing to call them, and Russia's support for Syria in that battle as being something illegal, immoral, and evil, when in fact it's just the opposite.